And we are live. Good morning, guys. It's Monday. So first of all, let me go over the homework with you guys, and then we'll talk about the fact that we're going to have a little test tomorrow, but it shouldn't be too hard. So number one, they say it's qualitative because bookmarks in your web browsers are not anything that necessarily are numbers that you can count. Two, heights of players, that's definitely a qualitative because there's numerical data. Kilobytes in a download file, that's qualitative because those are numbers. FM radio stations, well, it's kind of weird because if they say 101.1, that's not, it's more of a name than a number, so it's kind of confusing, okay? 5, box and whisker. Here's my box and whisker, and if you take a look at it, you can see it really, really well. Hank Aaron was more consistent. He could get a home run more often than, say, Babe Ruth. Babe Ruth was much more spread out, so he'd have a larger standard deviation, okay? However, Babe Ruth had more home runs in a single season, right? But then he had 0 too, so Babe Ruth was definitely more consistent, okay? On number 7, here's my stem and leaf graph. And if you look at it, it might be skewed to the right. We could make a graph of it, but you can definitely see, and you get an idea of what it looks like. 7, yeah, this one's really misconstrued. This is what statistics can do. Statistics can make anything look any way they want, and that's the bad part of statistics. The good part is that you get a visual picture, but what's really bad is right here, 0 to 69. Well, that's like a lot different than 60 to 89, right? So your intervals are totally different. So it looks like we got a whole lot of people walking, but it may not necessarily be true because there could be a whole lot of people not walking at all, right? And then on 8, it's misleading because if you look at the graph, they didn't include 0 to 60. So if you look at this, Bob looks like, whoa, man, Bob's like so much better than Carol, but not really. Bob's not 3 times as much as Carol. So you can see that one's misleading as well, okay? Anyway, that's the homework. Now, what I want to do is talk about the review. So I want you to get this review done. I'll let you take a look at it. And if you want a picture of it, I can send a picture of it to you. But once you get the review done, I'll send you the test. So here it is. And I did a lot of the work already to make this easier, so I'll show you my answers. But what I did, and I have a calculator, I've got 2 things. Okay, so one, if you want to download on your apps, there's tons of apps. Okay, here's one app right here. I like this one here. You tap on it, and then you can start entering data. And in this case, you could just enter all of your 25, 195, 188, 200, blah, 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 blah. You just get it on your calculator. It will give you the standard deviation. My fancy calculator does the same thing. If I go to Stat, Edit, and I put in the numbers, it'll give that for me too, and I can get all the numbers, okay? So when I did that, the cool part is when I do it on my calculator, I can even get stuff from my box and whisker, okay? So I like the calculator better. Just so much better, so much easier to use. And so on my calculator, if I do my 225, oops, at 225, doggone it. 225, 195, 188, 200 for the golf drives, 195, 220. So use technology. Definitely use technology. Don't do this by hand. Nobody does it by hand. I made you do it by hand once, but once is all you should do it. Because technology is there for you. Okay, 340, enter. Okay, so what I like about my calculator, and of course you can get the apps that do the same thing. You can go on your computer and get the same thing and find it. Now that's what I want you to do, is use the technology. So if I go back to Stat, I go to calculate one variable and calculate, boom. You know, it gives me the standard deviation, 70.69. It gives me the mean, 205. It even gives me, for my box and whisker, my minimum, my quarter 1, my median, gives me my quarter 3, and even gives my max. So when I make my box and whisker, I've already got those values. Now, obviously, that's an outlier, 340. So what happened? Probably some pro golfer came up and smacked the ball and made everybody feel bad, okay? So if you get rid of the outlier, what happens is that it changes your mean significantly. Your box and whisker graph looks a little bit more symmetrical and not so more skewed to the right, okay? Anyway, I'll let you guys do that, okay? Number 3, if I take a look at number 3, identify the shape. That one looks pretty symmetrical. This one looks skewed to the right. And then student 2 has more consistent scores, and student 1 is all over the place. Good scores and then not so good scores, okay? Which single student has the best score? Well, student 1 has an 88. They've got the best score, okay? Now, 4, here's the key, my intervals. I need to go from 127 to 142. So I'm going to do a histogram. I'll show you what I did. I already did this earlier so I could save your time. And what I did is I took a look. Let's see side by side. You guys see it. So here's my 127 to 142, my 143 to 158. So I did my intervals and I counted how many wrestlers were within that weight group. I got 8 within that 8 group, so I made a bar up to 8. 7 in this weight group, 2, 2, and 1. So definitely skewed to the right. It definitely shows me what's going on, that most of our sumo wrestlers are lighter in weight because they're quicker. The big fatties, they can't move very fast, so but they're big and strong. Okay. Anyway, number 5, almost done. The survey is conducted to see who goes to the prom. There's 350 students. Okay, so check it out. There's my 350. Is my total, right? From a total of 171 males said yes. So I got 171 males. So if I got 171 males, then I can find out how many total females, right? Because if I got 350, 171, there had to be 179 females. I just subtracted that to find out the females, right? And 100 said yes of the males, so then I could find out from there that there were 71 that said no. Total of 90 females said no, so that can give me the females. So if 90 said no, and there's 179 females, right? I get 89 females that said yes. Okay, so then I finally get all my totals, make my two-way table, or draw it down, and then my final question says, what percentage of females will go to the prom? Females going to the prom. Well, females, here's my females, total females. These are the ones that are going to go to the prom, so it's 89 out of 179, like about almost 50%, 49.7%. So that's what I have, and I want you guys to go ahead and do this. Send me a picture to it, and when you're done, I'll send you the test, and we'll get her done.